Sometimes life knocks us down for us to see, to believe, and to make us dream that we can stand up taller from where we began. Eric Manuel's first job in the Big Apple was not easy. Coping with triumphs and failures made him realize what makes us human. So Eric, can you share with us about your childhood story?
Sure. So I was actually born in QC, of course, late 70s. I am not a millennial. But around 85, of course, there was about people power. So my family decided to leave and head for New York City.
How old are you within?
I was about 7 years old.
Wow.
And so I left. I'm the bunso, the youngest one of my family. We left, arrived on December 31st, New York City.
Oh my God.
Freezing cold. I don't even know what thermals meant. And then we were in Queens, New York, a couple of hours from JFK Airport. And so I grew up in the US, going through attending school there as a Filipino. But in the US, I was basically part of the Asian community. But eventually I found that there are a lot of other Filipinos, so adjusting life to New York City wasn't so bad. I attended my schooling there. I went to public high school, public university. Of course, I studied abroad, but my first job was working on Wall Street. And so from there, basically I become quite Americanized. But fortunately, I've actually kept my Philippine passport. And so I'm actually a dual citizen right now.
So during that time, at that young age, because left Philippines when you're 7, did you ever start dreaming what kind of life, what kind of family, what kind of homes you would like someday at that age?
Yeah, great question. So, being in New York, I would always think I was gonna retire rich in New York, get a Upper East Side apartment, or like those apartments you see in Sex and the City. Everyone thinks about New York to be very cool. The bright lights. I'd have a nice home in Long Island, go to the Hamptons in the weekend. So of course I envision it. I'd get married young, be rich, work on Wall Street for the rest of my life, white picket fence, that sort of thing. But then I realized I had a greater purpose. And the reason why, my mother works for the United Nations. And my tito was actually a dean of AIM, Asian Institute of Management here. And so this global thinking of always helping out not just the Filipinos but the world has always been instilled in me. So my mom is a major influence in my life, of course. And so the UN, she'd been in places like Somalia, Liberia, Baghdad in Iraq, East Timor, and I'd be in New York talking to her and wondering, why are you there when you could be here in the UN headquarters in New York? And her always answer is, I'll provide for you, of course, and also I need to help out other people in this world. And so that was instilled. So that thought, that seed of change actually is in me and all my other siblings. So basically, even though I had this dream of white picket fence, living in New York City, I always thought there was something bigger that I can contribute back to the society.
So what kind of project that instill you that you're pursuing right now? I know you're working as a corporate leader in your organization, but what's that for you to pursue that kind of vision that your mom started?
And for me, building sustainably is not just something we do for marketing or anything like that. It's actually real. In real estate, we know that what we build is for someone, a customer. If I'm building residential, what I build is for someone to live in, to start a home, start a family. Or if it's an office building, it's for companies who want to operate in the Philippines, who want to save or do something. A very good example is we have World Bank in our portfolio. They've been with us for 20 years. And World Bank, I'm not a World Bank employee, but I know that they're in my building and they're saving the world. So learning how to build buildings that you have these types of tenants, and also doing green buildings, which is something that we're also trying to instill throughout our portfolio, is this thing of sustainability. And being in the Philippines where we have typhoons, global warming, that sort of thing, that's something that we need to emphasize more.
To go back with that education when you were a kid, are you very competitive?
Yes, I'm very competitive.
How can you say that you're competitive?
I was a perfectionist in grades. I have to admit, I strive for the best degrees, the A's, want to be the top of the class. Competitive. And that's important, but learning, I would honestly say, is more important. If I can advise myself 20 years ago, if the younger Eric was in front of me, I would say, it's good that you're competitive in getting grades and that sort of thing, but it's much better to be cooperative as well. I have to admit, collaborating, knowing that you're not the smartest person in the room, and being more humble is what I would probably tell myself, is more important than being the best. Because there's always going to be someone smarter, faster, stronger, hungrier, more passionate than you. But I'm sure through a collective group, through getting more people for a common cause, is much more powerful than an individual.
What are the real reality stories that you can share?
Well, I think, my first day at Wall Street, I got yelled at by my boss. And, I thought I was a smart guy. I thought I did all my work. I prepared for it, put the presentation well, did the financials well. But I still missed a detail. Actually, it's that level of detail that that's never left me. That was my first day on the job of my company. And because of that, I'm very detailed. I mean, really, whatever I do, even though I have a very big picture view of business and politics, at the end of the day, it's all about the little details to execute. But it's those things, that's just one simple experience that I do carry with me from that job. But I think overall, I've been blessed. I've studied in London as well, where it's actually very multicultural. And I've realized we're all just human. Yes, we have boundaries, we have political systems, religious systems. We're actually all human. We eat, we sleep, we breathe. And knowing those 3 factors and maybe a couple more, actually any differences we may have, we actually work it out. I think as humans, we want to survive. So even if you and I can't speak the same language, I look at your eyes, you look at mine, and we realize, you know what? Let's do something better together. I think that's what I've learned as I travel this world.
So with that, you've been traveling around the world, what is the pride of Filipino that you carry?
Very good question. Being Filipino for me, of course, my family means a lot. It's actually, we've heard about crab mentality, and I've been quite blessed that my family doesn't believe in that. Mm-hmm. And so they're not based on nepotism, it's all about meritocracy, it's bringing your skills to the table. So that's what I know of being Filipino. Hard work, and also being very innovative. For example, if there's a problem, we'll find a way around it. We're very good at that. And that ingenuity carries us far. My goal is I want to put Philippines on the real estate map. I travel a lot around the world, around the region. I speak everywhere. I actually teach still, all the way from Hong Kong. I teach Shanghai developers. And when they see a Filipino teaching, they see me as a Filipino, but when they hear me speak, they hear that this global sense that I've traveled, in Europe and across the world. I represent the Philippines. I know that every time I go to these countries, so I want to make sure I'm on my best footing.
So with that, do you consider yourself successful?
I think so. Actually, let me change that. Yes, I consider myself successful.
So what is success to you?
I think work-life balance. The younger Eric worked 20 hours a day in Wall Street. I think your health. If you wanted to do anything, I always tell my colleagues and the people who I work with, who report to me, first thing I say, please get some sleep, eat well, and exercise. And only then can we talk about work. And so success is the balance of all those 4. Family, relationships, balancing, don't make enemies. And that's another thing. Those are success. And you've noticed I haven't really talked about work and success. Money, most people would think, is a form of success. It might be. I'd rather make it more of an impact. I have to admit, some of the most powerful people in the world are not the richest. Power doesn't connote that you have to have money, and those are the people I'm influenced by. Those are the ones that impact society.
So what the best message that you can share with them, that even though they're in that position, that they can also achieve what you achieve?
I mean, I would honestly say anyone in poverty level, if there's a way to empower yourself, and it's really to educate yourself, because that's very long term. Meaning, get an education. I'm not even asking to get a college degree. Actually, just learn. Go online, find a library, find an internet access, find a laptop, read this, read that, watch videos on how to get something. But every day, think of it as like a brick. Every day in your life is a brick. And every brick you put in every day, you're building your house. So back to that dream I had of a nice white picket fence and a beautiful house, that's essentially a mental house. That 30 to 40 years from now, you can look back and say, wow, I was only starting off with the raw land, nothing. But look at me, now I live in a mansion. And this mansion is big enough to house all those other people in need, potentially. And so at the end of the day, when you get to a level of comfort, you empower other people. So education.
Yeah. If there's one thing that you want to leave, or you want these future leaders to follow you, or secrets of your success, what would be the best advice that you can give them?
I say listen, take good notes, and every person you meet, there's always something to learn from. And when I say that, if there's let's say a janitor, and there's something you can learn from a janitor, hard work ethic. You learn about people. And if you're working in a company, taking good notes, listening, that sort of thing, those are definitely things I would advise on. There's always something to learn. The day you stop learning is the day you pretty much die.
So with those kind of experiences and training that you're getting, do you use the same system in your own home? Because I know you're now married with a child.
I treat my baby as if the younger Eric, meaning, I'd like for him to get good grades, that sort of thing, but I'd rather let him see the world. In the day, I love technology, and I talked about e-commerce before, digitization of work, smartphones. But how sweet is it if the art of communication, face-to-face like this? How rare is it to sit over a cup of coffee to discuss big ideas? It's getting quite rarer, especially this millennial group.
Yeah.
I can only imagine 20 years from now, when my son is about 21, 22, how the world will be. Will people always be looking at their smartphones like this? Or will they still converse like this? And I hope he learns how to make any changes. It's always about eye contact, the simple ways to communicate. So that's what I would rather have him do. Just be a people person, more than be the smartest guy in the room.
Eric, with all the innovations, what is the most important that you don't want to change?
Human contact. With all the available social media tools, Facebook, WhatsApp, Skype, all these, it's this one-on-one conversations. It's coffee, over a cup of coffee. That's truly something can never be digitized. That's something that is more rare now. So with human contact, eye contact, simple things, really is. It's as we get more digitized, as technology becomes more pervasive in our daily life, imagine a phone call even. So we're meant to be talking to each other. That's how stories were told. We were put on this earth not just to look at screens. And most change does happen. Big ideas come about in these discussions, things like this.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Being independent doesn't mean you have to be alone. A little help from your family and friends can push you towards your destination. They can also be the shoulder to lean on when you need time off so you can still carry on. I am Rebecca Bustamante, and this is Self-Made.